Well, I would like to welcome everybody to the next lesson. And this lesson is called The Three Teachers. Adjust my microphone for a second here. And as you can see, we're getting to the end of this course, Meditation for Tuning Consciousness. I believe there will be only one, maybe two lessons left. We are approaching the end of this course, and I hope that you are getting something out of this concept of using meditation to tune our consciousness. This meditation method works because sitting in contentment is the original stillness that the Buddha was speaking about, right? We tend to think of stillness in meditation as sitting still. It's very calm, and maybe watching the breath or watching a part of our nostril. The many ways that this meditation is taught today. But the meditation or the stillness that the Buddha spoke about was a form of contentment, the act of sitting in contentment in the present moment. So content that we would not need to move anywhere emotionally to feel safe, to feel fulfilled, and that way we could sit permanently and completely still in the present moment. The reason the Buddha emphasized this was that he knew that this contentment state was our original state of being. And that is why we enjoy feeling it, because it is where we naturally should be sitting emotionally. It is not just our beginning point, right? It is our greatest expression of who we are. And we can return there, the point of meditation. However, we can also give our power away. Because all power is ours really intrinsically. We cannot give it away permanently. We simply give it away in the way that we think. And for that reason, we can get it back. My teacher used to say, in meditation and life, we can, if we wish, begin to see all beings as teachers. And this is in reference to this course name, The Three Teachers. That he would see all beings as teachers. Teachers, every one of them, he would say. They all teach what they have agreed with from their experience. Right? Then he would say that you can barely stop them from teaching in telling us how to live our lives, right? With their opinions. Now we feel irritated when we are given the opinions of others. But this is a new way of looking at things, right? To see them as a teacher, one who is teaching from their experience. And how wonderful it is to watch in this way, to see from multiple experiences how to live life, right? A new way to look. To see all beings as teachers and to be open to what they have to say. And to look at their lives as examples of their teachings. So not only do we hear their words, but we can see the results of their actions. And then we can decide which teachings that we wish to follow. He would say, think of their bodies and their lives as their churches or their temples of their teachings, and see how healthy their teachings are. Listen, but do not follow what you do not understand. For if you follow what you do not understand, what are you following? The teacher, not the teaching. He says, this is like emotional digestion. We choose what teachings resonate with us and follow them only. Why would we follow anything else? But with an open heart and an open mind, we will listen to all teachings. And as you wander from teacher to teacher, you may find something out, he said. You may begin to find that there are only 3 types of teachers. The teacher voice, our voice of self-knowledge, our present voice really, right? The voice in the present day is the voice of all our experiences, right? And also, there is the voice of our greatest self, who is also a teacher voice, and that is the voice of the conscious universe itself. There is also the student voice, he continued. Voice number 2. The student voice, the part of us that is exploring new things, that wishes to learn more about things, and is exploring. This one is closely related to our teacher voice, and is really our teacher voice in learning mode. Often, a teacher must also learn at the same time. All good ones do, right? The conscious universe included. Always learning. Number 3. And then there is the voice that does not follow what we have learned and does not care about what we wish to learn. It simply teaches us to fulfill our feelings and desires without measuring their cost. Who is this voice? Do you recognize him? I know he is often present within me, right? I remember at the time trying to figure out how to answer, and I said that the teacher and the student voice must be our logical side, or the mind, right? And that the third voice must be our heart or our emotions, not subject to logic, really. The teacher asked me, so this heart does not follow logic? No, feelings, I answered. I believe it is like the mind and the heart, in a way. The angel and the demon, sitting on our shoulders sort of thing. They're two aspects of who we are, right? The light and the darkness, in a way. So duality then, he said. Like I was going to get myself into trouble. One who follows logic and one that does not necessarily need to. Exactly, I said, yeah. How does this voice influence us to follow this feeling or that feeling if it does not have logic? It uses pressure, not as much conversation, but pressure, kind of pressure. I'm not saying it, or urges, I guess would be a good way of saying it, right? Logical, really, to use such tools to move us in the right direction, he said. Logical. And having a direction and a plan is logical too. So its actions are based on logic, right? Only a logic used to satisfy a feeling that is not logical to satisfy, right? Our logic is working against us now, right? A logic that is so focused, these actions, when measured in any other way, are considered irrational, silly even, right? But it is no duality here. Only multiple logical perspectives of the same consciousness now working against themselves, one at a higher state and one being controlled at a lower state. Now they contradict themselves and we argue, right? But the fact remains, logic is the basis of all of this, right? Logic and actions coming from logic govern us, right? No division between the heart and mind. No rational and irrational. Only rational at different levels, creating irrationality because of it, right? Single state. No duality. So now we sit in contentment thinking about our 3 teachers. The 3 teachers, the one who understands, the one who seeks to understand, and the one who does not care about understanding, only fulfilling feelings, right? Logically, we would usually select the first two teachers to follow, you would think, right? Our understanding and what we wish to understand. But usually we follow the third voice. Why is that? My teacher would often say, all energies have the same power, but not the same confidence. All energies have the same power. They must have. They are all different perspectives of the same consciousness. Same size for each consciousness contains the other, right? Same size, right? For each consciousness contains the other, right? And I found this out to be true, right? That just as I in the present am consciousness in the present, and I can feel consciousness in the background urging me to do something maybe unhealthy. In the same way, that part of us that is urging us to be unhealthy can hear our logical desire to be healthy in its background. I've asked, and that part of me confirmed that that's how it was, right? That we can hear each other in each other's background in a way, right? Because we are the same energy, just in two different perspectives at the same time. It sounds amazing, but that is how the mind is constructed. Consciousness is constructed. But again, he said that not all energies have the same confidence, right? And for that reason, do not worry about our power. Our power is the same. Worry about our confidence, right? Seek more confidence by allowing our experiences to build more confidence, right? That is why we are living a life of experiences. Energy on a journey forming confidence through experience in what it is, right? That is the purpose of energy on the move. Then he would remind me that any aspect of our thinking that responded to greater logic already had. This takes a while to figure out, right? We keep arguing with this energy that won't listen to us because it is not responding to our logic. All the energy that responds to logic already has, which means that this energy must be controlled by something other than our thinking and logic. It must be controlled by something else. My teacher would say, sounds like chemistry. Sounds like addiction. And he said that the interesting thing about addiction is that the confidence of addiction is always 100%, right? It is chemistry controlling consciousness, and for that reason, the confidence comes from the chemistry, which is always at 100%. It will 100% do what it will do, without thinking, without arguing or reasoning. It is an action and that will simply take place, right? 100%. Until we see that, we will always be outmatched by our third voice, right? You see, the teacher of understanding, our voice in the present, is rarely at 100% confidence, right? In fact, it is unwise to be at 100% confidence, because then we would not look at new teachings. The student is never at 100% confidence because he is always looking for more information on the topics he is interested in, right? So here we have three teachers. Two of them have less than 100% confidence, and the third always at 100%. The math makes sense now, doesn't it? We will often lose to the third voice, even when those actions will create damage to us in the present. But irregardless, reasoning still exists in this one. But it is difficult to reach through reasoning alone. For this reason, it is better to remove the chemical that is causing the focus of our logic so that common sense will return at greater levels, right? Then common sense will begin to respond, right? I remember my teacher would say that most teachers were teachers of discontentment. That was why they were teaching a new thing, for the old ways made them uncomfortable, right? So their teachings were always a product of discontentment. And we cannot find contentment when we're learning from teachers whose teachings are derived from discontentment. Instead, these teachers, most teachers you would say, taught a temporary form of contentment, a contentment found in their unique teachings and their unique buildings until somebody contradicted them from their unique teachings and their unique buildings, and then the fights would start and the protecting would begin. So they were teachers of discontentment only because their contentment was subject to being left alone, to being in the woods, as many religious beliefs move you towards. But these were teachers of discontentment. He would say, see their minds and their actions and their words, always choosing to love something and to hate its opposite. Duality. The mark of duality again. Instead, he said one day, sit down with the teacher teaching contentment in meditation. He or she is always there and ready to teach a student who is willing to listen. So I thought this was interesting. So I have an internal teacher who teaches contentment. We certainly have many internal teachers that teach discontentment. We can hear them all, right? So I followed up on this and I did it. I remember trying for a week or so to sit with this teacher of contentment. But I could not find him or her. Finally, I talked to my teacher and I said, I cannot see this teacher of contentment. I've been sitting for a week and I hear nothing. Oh, he said calmly, I forgot to tell you. He is content, and for that reason he is usually silent. Next time, sit next to the one who is content and silent, and quietly ask him why he is content. He will answer you if you are ready to listen. So the next day, I did. And an answer formed in my mind very easily to this question. He said, I am content because a flower grows naturally from a spindly stem into a leafy stick and finally into a generous bloom. I am content watching states that others are not, because I know that even the oddest stem, even with a single leaf, damaged in everything, that being can be brought into a beautiful bloom with nothing more than love, patience, and care. Okay? For that reason, I am content, because learning, like that growing flower, is a dance that we need to learn. A dance between finding and not finding. Right? We see that in meditation, finding a state and then losing it. But there is no failure, no bad days, only the dance of experience. Right? And then let's take meditation again for an example. At first we try, and one day we find a wonderful state of mind we have never felt before, right? Finally there, finally have it. And then we cannot find it again. Right? We search, and finally we consider giving up. And it happens again. Right? The most beautiful state of mind. Right? And then it happens again, and again, and again, and soon it is happening all the time. It is the dance of finding and losing, for it is not the same one finding it each time. It is one with greater experience finding this state each time, until finally we find this state with such experience, it will never go away, right? The dance of finding and losing, he would say. No step down, always moving up, right? Always moving in the right direction, right? And then we will find a new state, right? From this higher state of mind that we are now living in all the time. And then we will lose that state. And then we will try and then finally give up, and then it'll come back again. And then finally we find it with such experience that becomes our new home. And this is how we climb up the ladder of awareness, right? No step backwards, only the building of experience. For this reason, I sit quietly and watch the dance of experience, this voice said. And for those who are ready to listen, I speak. To rush this experience in any other way is an act of control, and all acts of control only hinder the student's growth. Right? Unhealthy to expect others to match our speed and experience. And only a teacher of discontentment would teach such a thing. He was right. And then he said, as you know, it is better to walk at the speed of the one next to you, respectful even. Simply allow them to dance at their speed and competence, for if we do not, we are asking them to act unnaturally. So that is what I learned from sitting next to the teacher of contentment, who sat in silence all the years that I meditated, until I asked it a question. So that is our lesson for today on the three teachers. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, thank you for joining us in this course on meditation for tuning consciousness. And we'll see you next time. Thanks again.